When the NFL is king, when that's the biggest league in the country, what's going on with you?
Stephen A., what's going on?
What's up, y'all? What's up? I figure, I spend the last half hour of the show, since y'all have no problem with dudes puffing and passing, let me show y'all what it would look like if a commentator showed up. Ha! Let me look the part. How about that?
This is
Go
not
ahead,
what
man.
we were talking
I thought
about.
someone just didn't do their sock laundry. Is that what that was?
Let me go. Go ahead, Max Kellerman.
Look.
Roz, go ahead.
That would
Oh, my
explain some of
God.
these takes today.
He's referring to
Go
our
ahead.
last segment, Calvin
Go ahead.
Johnson
Go
using
ahead.
weed medicinally.
The boys and girls, Stephen A. Smith,
I
is not
actually
actually inebriated.
No, not at all.
Never that. But go ahead, man.
Maybe a little punch drunk after sparring with me on this show for a couple years. Look,
I hear you,
Patrick Mahomes
Right.
is playing the most important position in American team sports. He's playing it better than anyone's ever played it at this point in his career. Now, the records in terms of being number one down the list, of course, anyone in this era who's at the top is going to set those records because this is a passing era. But what you said, Roz, was key. It's by far. The era itself doesn't capture all the, doesn't explain it well enough. The reason that Mahomes is hitting heights we've never seen is because so far he's the best to ever do it. Now, if they adjust, if he doesn't come through in the playoffs, et cetera, we reevaluate. So 20 games into his career, when you see Mahomes, and by the way, Stephen A., I said this early last year. I said after watching him play, I'll tell my grandkids, saw Brett Favre's arm, right, and Patrick Mahomes' arm. He has that Brett Favre kind of electricity in his arm, but he can move like Aaron Rodgers, and like Aaron Rodgers, can thread the needle down the field and doesn't turn the ball over. And by the way, he's still a baby. He is the most important and valuable participant in American team sports by far.
I understand what you're saying, man. I do.
You can tell Stephen A. has always been sober from this invitation.
Right.
Yeah, this is someone who does not.
You've never been high.
Never that. I can understand what you're saying, Max.
Yeah.
When I look at Patrick Mahomes, I look at him 19 games.
Why can't you open your eyes?
16. Hey, man.
Are you hungry right now, Stephen A.?
I'm hungry and thirsty all at the same time, bro. I mean, with 19 games in, 60 touchdowns. I mean, what do you say, Max? But I'm going to lean on what my man Troy Aikman had to say. Could you get 33% of the Super Bowls I captured? Or if you Tom Brady, how about 15% of the Super Bowls I captured?
Did you give him Bill Belichick?
When you talk about the most valuable athlete in sports, Max, we just finished talking about him a few months ago. We were talking about LeBron James, King James, three-time NBA Finals champion, 9 trips to the NBA Finals, a global iconic figure who, by the way, when he wasn't in the playoffs, the ratings dropped. Oh, by the way,
you ain't lying.
Before the playoffs began, Max Kellerman, the ratings had dipped on the East Coast because he was out west. He was no longer in Cleveland, and nobody could hold it up, Max. Joel Embiid couldn't hold it up, Max. Kyrie Irving couldn't hold it up, Max. Kawhi Leonard in Toronto, Canada, couldn't hold it up, Max. And so when you look at it from that perspective, and then you take into account the brother affects ratings. He's a global iconic figure. And oh, by the way, with or without Patrick Mahomes, Mahomie to some people out there, you gonna watch the NFL with or without him. That wasn't necessarily the case.
Okay, Smokey.
For LeBron
Just
James
like to see Big
and
Worm.
the NBA.
First of all, I just want to commend your commitment to the character right now.
I'm just saying.
That's right. Look, LeBron is an economic machine. I understand that. And the nature of the NBA is that one player has a larger influence over the fortunes of any one franchise than anyone in the NFL. I'm just saying the NFL's economy is twice the size of the NBA's. The most important position is the quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is playing it on an unprecedented level. And unlike LeBron James, he's not 112 years old. Frank Sinatra punched me in the chest, told me that LeBron James, 112 years old. What was he didn't say? What was the line from
I got it,
Coming
man.
to America?
I got it. But my
Knock me down,
last
punch
point
me
is
in the
this.
chest, and remember.
My last point is this,
Yeah.
Max. The economy of the NFL was not elevated by Patrick Mahomes. It was elevated before Patrick Mahomes. So he's contributing to it.
He's going to keep
no
it high,
doubt.
Stephen A.
And maybe when he does,
what you did?
when he does, call a brother.
You know
Until then,
the real
it's
answer.
LeBron
the real
James.
answer to the most important athlete in American team sports is a guy who's not an athlete. It's Bill Belichick. Like when you say, let's see him win, Troy Aikman didn't have to compete against the Bill Belichick team, or guess what? Cowboys wouldn't have had those chips.
All I'm saying to you is
that's
back
that's
to
real.
Stephen A. Not the high dude. Back to Stephen A.
Yes.
Bottom line is this. LeBron James has proven he directly affects ratings.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know that about Patrick Mahomes. And the point is the NFL is king. They have shown you there's 16 games a year over the course of 17 weeks. The event that they have established their sport to be. Do you understand that Daniel Jones in one game was second leading, number 2 in jersey sales? Number 2. The NFL is just that much of a monster.
Well, you're making a fair point because
of course I am.
The NFL is never about the name of the player. It's always
right.
about the shield, the brand.
NBA
has always pushed the
They've been about the name of the player since Bird and Magic to Jordan.
That was intentional by David Stern.
Absolutely, of course it was. He and I spoke about that on several occasions. You got to MJ. Then obviously you look at the 90s. You know, you had the bad boy Pistons, then the New York Knicks, and you were looking for something. You were trying to sell Patrick Ewing, but it wasn't necessarily working. But the Knicks were a brand in New York City. We get all of that. And then Shaq comes to the league, the Love Shack in Orlando, Florida. Then ultimately he leaves to go to L.A. Kobe joins him, okay? And then it was Kobe's and Shaq's league from a marquee perspective. Then LeBron arrived. And then KD arrived. AI was in the mix in 1996 as well. Look, man, the NBA is an individual sport in terms of marketing.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.